Have you ever stopped to think about what your mind actually is? I mean, really think about it. What if it isn't a thing at all, but a process? A powerful, torrential stream that's been flowing since beginningless time? Well, today, we're diving into a really profound model of the mind that comes directly from a dialogue with the Buddha. And honestly, it might just change how you see your own consciousness forever. Okay, so where does all this come from? Well, every great insight usually starts with a great question, right? Our whole journey today begins with this one, asked by a seeker, a bodhisattva named Vast Wisdom, to the Buddha. He wanted to know the ultimate secret, the real deal behind mind, intention, and consciousness. This question is what kicks the whole thing off, and we're basically going to join him on that quest for answers. All right, so here's our roadmap. We'll start with that big question. Then we'll uncover the Buddha's answer about the root of the mind. From there, and this is the cool part, we'll explore its central metaphor, a torrential stream. Then we'll see how our daily thoughts are basically just waves on its surface. And finally, we'll get to the heart of it and ask what this all means for our very sense of I.
So let's set the scene a little bit. This teaching comes from a major text called the Yogacara Bhumi Shastra, which is foundational for a whole school of Buddhist thought. In it, the Bodhisattva Guanghui goes to the Buddha and asks him to reveal the true hidden nature of mind, intention, and consciousness. He's really asking, what does it take to truly master our own inner world?
Now, the Buddha's answer is just fascinating. He doesn't start with the stuff we're always aware of, our day-to-day thoughts and feelings. No, he goes way deeper. He points to this foundational level of consciousness that's like the bedrock of our entire existence. It's often called the eighth consciousness. So the Buddha gives this deep consciousness two different names, and each one describes a different job it does. First, it's called the Adana consciousness. That literally means the grasping or upholding consciousness. This is the part of our deep mind that, keeps our physical body going. It holds it all together and makes sure it continues from one moment to the next. It's also called the Alaya consciousness, which means storehouse. Think of it like a vast cosmic hard drive. This is where the imprints, or seeds, of all our past actions, words, thoughts, and experiences are stored. Absolutely everything we do leaves a little trace here, and that trace then shapes our future. It's this huge personal archive of potential. Okay, now this is the crucial point, so you gotta get this. Ananana and Alaya, they aren't two separate things, not at all. They're just two names, two functions, for one single unified reality. One job is to uphold the body, the other is to store the past. But together they make up the one deep consciousness that is the very basis of our being. So how do you even begin to describe something so fundamental and deep? Well, the Buddha doesn't reach for a static concept like a container or a box. Instead, he uses this incredibly powerful and dynamic metaphor that just brings its true character to life. And this quote just captures it perfectly. Our fundamental consciousness isn't a thing, it's a process, a massive torrential stream that is always, always in motion. Just thinking of your mind that way, not as something you have, but as something that flows, that changes everything. Okay, so if our fundamental mind is this deep, powerful stream, then what about everything else? Our thoughts, the things we see, the sounds we hear, where do they fit into all of this? The answer, it turns out, is beautifully simple. The Buddha explains it so well. This deep stream of Adana consciousness, that's the foundation. And when the right conditions pop up, like an object to look at or a sound to hear, bam, waves arise on the surface. And those waves, that's our six senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and even our thinking mind. And the most critical part is this: the waves aren't separate from the stream. They are a manifestation of the stream. So what this means is that everything you're experiencing right now, every single thought, every feeling, every perception, it's all like the activity on the surface of a vast, deep ocean. These aren't just random, disconnected events happening. They are the expressions of this one underlying, continuous flow of consciousness that is your fundamental mind. And this all brings us to the really profound conclusion of this teaching. Because understanding the mind as a stream isn't just some interesting intellectual idea. It has this huge implication for how we see ourselves. And it comes with a very important warning. The Buddha is very specific with his warning here. He says this teaching is really deep and subtle because there's a huge risk of misunderstanding it. The fear is that people will hear about this deep, continuous stream of consciousness and think,
Aha, that's it. That's my soul, my true self. But that is the absolute opposite of the insight he's trying to get across.
So, what this points to is a radical shift in perspective. Our normal view is that I am a fixed thing, a solid self that has a mind. But the insight here is that what we call I is nothing more than this dynamic, ever changing process. There's no solid thinker behind the thoughts, there's only the thinking, only the flow itself. And so, we're left with this final, powerful question to think about. If everything we identify as me, our thoughts, our body, our memories, is just activity within this impersonal, ceaseless flow, then what exactly is the I we work so hard to protect and hold on to? The teaching suggests it might be something worth letting go of. Thanks for tuning in.